Something has been shifting inside you, not outside, inside. You feel it in the morning when you wake up and something does not feel the same. You feel it in the way you pray or the way you try to pray. You feel it in the way old things that used to bring you comfort no longer do. Chosen one, something is changing inside you, and you did not ask for it. You did not plan for it, and you cannot fully explain it to anyone around you because the words have not come yet. But you feel it. You feel it like the ground shifting beneath your feet. Not enough to fall, just enough to know that something under you is moving. Something under you is moving. And in the quiet moments, in the moments between the noise of the day, a question keeps surfacing. What is happening to me? You have asked it to yourself. Maybe you have whispered it to God in the dark. Why do I feel so different? Why does the person I used to be feel so far away from who I am right now? Why do I look at things I used to love and feel nothing? Why do I feel like a stranger inside my own life? Chosen one, I need you to hear me right now. The people around you may not understand it. The friends who knew the old you may be confused. Even you are confused. But tonight, stay with me. Because what you are experiencing has a name, and it is not what you think it is. Stay. Please stay. What if what you are feeling is not a sign that something is wrong? What if it is the sign that something is finally right? What if the unraveling you have been experiencing, the quiet dismantling, the slow release of things you used to hold on to, what if that is not a breakdown, but a remake? Chosen one, before you close this video, before you tell yourself this message is not for you tonight, I need you to stay. Because what God is doing inside you right now is one of the most sacred things He does in a human life. And most people never understand it while it is happening. Stay with me. What I am about to show you will change how you see everything. I want to name something that no one has probably named for you yet. You are grieving. Not because someone died, not because you lost something visible, but because the version of yourself you have known for years is being released. And grief does not require a funeral. Grief simply requires a loss. You are mourning the old certainties, the old clarity, the old confidence, the old version of your prayers when you knew exactly what you were asking for and why, when your faith felt contained and manageable, when God felt close in ways you understood. That version of you is becoming something else. Chosen one, no one told you that transformation comes with grief. No one warned you that becoming who God designed you to be would first require the letting go of who you thought you were. That grief is real, it is legitimate, and I'm not going to rush you past it, not for 1 second. But I need you to hear something equally as true. You are not losing your faith. You are not backsliding. You are not falling apart. You are not spiritually broken. You have not failed some invisible test that you did not even know you were taking. You are being taken apart on purpose by a God who knows exactly what He is doing. Chosen one, there is a profound difference between falling apart and being taken apart. Falling apart is chaos without a craftsman. Being taken apart is renovation with a master builder. You are not in chaos. You are in renovation. And the confusion you feel right now is not the confusion of destruction. It is the confusion of being in the middle of a blueprint that you have not yet been shown in full. The builder sees it, and he has never lost it. There is a man who sat with this very tension and named it more clearly than almost anyone I have encountered. His name was C.S. Lewis, Oxford scholar, Christian apologist, the man who wrote Chronicles of Narnia and Mere Christianity, a man who knew what it was to have his own interior world completely reconstructed by God. And in Mere Christianity, one of the most important books written about the Christian life in the last 100 years, Lewis wrote these words. I want you to hear them slowly. Do not rush past them, he wrote. Imagine yourself as a living house. God comes in to rebuild that house. He is building quite a different house from the one you thought of throwing out a new wing here, putting on an extra floor there, running up towers, making courtyards. You thought you were being made into a decent little cottage, but He is building a palace. A palace. Chosen one God is not renovating you. He is rebuilding you. And you cannot live comfortably inside a house while it is being reconstructed from the foundation. The noise is real. The dust is real. The disorientation is real. But it is not catastrophe. It is construction. And the architect has never lost the blueprint. I want to take you somewhere, to a place the prophet Jeremiah was sent not to receive a grand vision, not to hear a sermon, just to watch, to be present for something that God wanted him to see. The Lord said to Jeremiah, "Go down to the potter's house." So he went. And when he arrived, Jeremiah chapter 18, he found a potter working at his wheel, working with clay, shaping something with careful, patient hands. And in the process, the vessel that was being formed became marred. Something shifted in the shaping. The clay did not hold the shape. And Jeremiah watched to see what the potter would do. Would he throw it away? Would he abandon the project? Would he start over with different clay? No. The potter pressed the clay back down on the wheel. He let it yield under his hands, and from that same piece of marred clay, he formed it into another pot, as seemed right to him. Chosen one, that is not a story about pottery. That is a story about you. That marred clay on the wheel, that is you. Not because you are ruined, but because the shape that was forming the shape you planned, the shape the world expected, did not match what the potter had in mind. And so he pressed the clay back down, not in anger, not in disappointment, with the same hands, on the same wheel, with the same love, but with a greater vision. Chosen one God did not look at the marred vessel and see failure. He looked at the same clay and saw potential for something greater than the first shape could contain. The pressing down, you have been feeling the collapse of what you thought you were becoming, is not the rejection of the potter, it is the precision of the potter. He pressed you back down because he can see what you will become from here, and what you will become is greater than anything the first shape could have held. And here is what most people miss about the potter's house. The wheel never stopped spinning. When the vessel became marred, the potter did not stop the wheel. He did not step away. He did not take a break and come back when he felt inspired. The process continued. The hands stayed on the clay. The shaping did not pause for even a moment. Chosen one, even in your most disorienting season, even in the moments when you felt most like you were coming apart, even in the confusion and the grief and the unraveling, God's hands were never off you. The wheel never stopped. What felt like silence was not absence. What felt like stillness was not abandonment. What felt like God looking away was actually God leaning in closer, with more concentration and more care than He has applied to any previous season of your life. You are not abandoned. You are mid-wheel, and the potter's hands have never left the clay. And Isaiah says something about this season that I want to plant in your spirit right now. Isaiah chapter 43 verse 19. The Lord says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Do you not perceive it?" Chosen one, the new thing is already happening. It is not coming in the future. It is not waiting for the old season to completely close. It is springing up inside you right now, even in the middle of the confusion, even in the middle of the grief. The new thing does not wait until the old thing fully ends. It begins in the overlap, in the space between who you were and who you are becoming. God is already building, already springing, already moving. You may not be able to see it yet, but it has already begun. The new thing is here. And I want to ask you something that I need you to sit with for a moment. Have you noticed it already? The way your prayers have changed. The way things that used to satisfy you no longer do. The way you have found yourself drawn to silence, to solitude, to a kind of stillness that the old you would have been uncomfortable with. Chosen one, that is not emptiness. That is preparation. When God is about to move you into something new, He first changes what you hunger for. He shifts your appetite before He shifts your address. He changes what your soul reaches for before He opens the door you have been standing outside of. The very things that are making you feel different from who you used to be are the early signs of the new thing that is already here. You have already started to perceive it. You just did not know that is what it was. Chosen one, I need to pause for just a moment. If this is your season, if you have been feeling that internal shifting, and you know deep in your spirit that this message found you tonight, I want you to do something right now. Type "Remake me" in the comments. 2 words. That is all. Remake me. Let the Father see your willingness. Let Him see that you trust the process, even when you don't fully understand it. And let every other chosen one watching tonight know they are not alone in the middle of the remake. We are in this together. I want to take you to something Jesus said, because Jesus, who knew what it was to lay down His life and rise in power, spoke directly about the process you are in right now. In John chapter 12, verse 24, He said, "Unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. Unless it dies, it remains only a single seed. A single seed, alone, unchanged, contained within its own small potential, unable to become what it was designed to become without passing through the ground. But if it dies, many seeds." Chosen one, what you are being asked to release right now, what is being allowed to fall from your hands, is not your future. It is the shell that was keeping your future contained. The dying is not the end. The dying is the multiplication. What goes into the ground as one comes out as many. And C.S. Lewis, writing in The Problem of Pain, gave us a language for this that I need to place in your hands tonight. He wrote, "And I want you to receive these words as if they were written directly to you. We are not metaphorically, but in very truth, a divine work of art. Something that God is making, a divine work of art, not a project, not a problem, not something damaged that needs repair before it can be useful again. A masterpiece. Chosen one, you are not a fixer-upper. You are not a work in progress in the way that implies something is missing or broken. You are a work in progress in the way that a Michelangelo is a work in progress while the master is still at the chisel. And the master does not abandon the marble. He works it. He carves away what does not belong. He removes the excess, not because the marble is wrong, but because he can already see the figure inside it that the rest of the world cannot yet see. That is what God is doing inside you. He is not breaking you. He is revealing you. And I need you to hear this with great clarity. What is dying right now is not you. It is not your faith. It is not your calling. It is not the promise God spoke over you. It is not the destiny He assigned before you were formed in the womb. What is dying is the version of you that was too small for what is coming. The old identity built on performance. The old way of approaching God that was rooted in fear instead of love. The old hunger for approval that made you shrink in spaces where God had called you to expand. The old limitations you had accepted as permanent. None of that was the real you. That was the covering. Chosen one, you do not need to fight to hold on to what is dying. You do not need to grieve it back to life. What God is releasing from your hands was always meant to be temporary, a shell, a chrysalis, and what is emerging from it cannot be stopped. And here is a truth that nobody preaches enough. The discomfort you are feeling right now, the confusion, the disorientation, the feeling that you do not quite fit in your own skin anymore, that is not evidence that something is wrong. That is evidence that something is right. You do not feel the heat of the furnace unless something is inside it being refined. You do not feel the resistance of the wheel unless the potter's hands are actively shaping something. You do not feel the pressure of pruning unless the gardener has determined that you are bearing fruit worth tending. Chosen one, your discomfort right now is not a sign of God's absence. It is proof of His presence. You do not feel like this because God has left. You feel like this because God is closer than He has been in a very long time, and He's doing the most intimate, most precise, most important work He has ever done inside you. And Isaiah makes this plain in chapter 48 verse 10. God Himself says, "I have refined you, but not as silver is refined. Rather, I have refined you in the furnace of affliction." The furnace of affliction, not the furnace of punishment, not the furnace of rejection, not the furnace of consequence. The furnace of refinement. Chosen one, God knows you are in the furnace right now. He placed you there. He is calibrating the temperature with precision, not to destroy what He made, but to burn away everything that was never meant to remain. And what comes out of the furnace will not look like what went in. And this is where it gets intensely personal for you tonight. I want you to think about someone you know who has been through fire. Not metaphorical fire, real loss, real dismantling. Someone whose life was taken apart in a season that made no sense from the outside. And think about who they are now. There is something in them, is there not, that was not there before. A depth, a groundedness, a kind of authority that you cannot manufacture in comfortable seasons. Something that can only come from having been inside the furnace and coming out the other side. Chosen one, that is what God is making in you. Not someone who has read about the fire, not someone who knows the theology of suffering, someone who has been inside it and emerged with the smell of smoke on their clothes and the light of God in their eyes. That is the version of you He is building. And the people He has prepared for you to reach can only be reached by someone who has been where you are right now. Your furnace season is not just for you. It is producing something in you that the people in your future are going to need. Here is what they don't tell you about transformation. It is not random. God is not remaking you without a plan. He is not improvising inside your life and hoping something beautiful emerges by accident. He did not open up the interior of your soul and begin rearranging things without knowing what He was building. Romans chapter 8 verse 29 tells us that you are being conformed to the image of His Son. Conformed to the image of His Son. That is not a vague direction. That is a specific blueprint. The remake has a destination. The transformation has a design. And the disorientation you are feeling right now has a purpose that is not random and not wasted. Chosen one, you are not being remade into something generic. You are being remade into the specific, particular, unrepeatable person that only you can be when fully surrendered to the fullness of Christ. And I need you to understand something about being conformed to Christ's image. It is not the erasure of yourself. It is the promotion of yourself. When God conforms you to the image of His Son, He does not remove your personality. He does not discard your story. He does not flatten you into a generic version of what a believer is supposed to look like. He takes your specific story, your exact wounds, your particular waiting, your unique season of confusion, and He presses all of it into the shape of something eternal. You are not becoming less yourself. You are becoming more of who you have always been underneath everything that was covering the real you. Chosen one, the version of you on the other side of this remake, is not a stranger. It is the truest version of you that has ever existed. And God has been moving toward that version with patience and with love since before you were born. If you are still here with me right now, and I believe you are, because this message found the people it was designed to find, I want you to type something in the comments. Type, "I am ready." Not because you feel ready, not because the process feels complete or comfortable, but because you are willing to trust the potter with the clay. Because you are saying, God, I'm not going to fight the remaking, I'm going to yield to it. Type, I am ready, and let your surrender be visible tonight. And here is the anchor I want to place in you before we go into the final movement of this message. Philippians chapter 1 verse 6. The Apostle Paul, writing from inside a prison cell, says this with absolute certainty, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. He who began will carry it to completion. God did not start this work inside you and grow tired of it. He did not begin the renovation and lose interest midway through. He did not open you up and then step away. He who began will complete. Chosen one, the God who initiated this process in you, is the same God who has never left an unfinished work in all of human history. He completed every season he began. He finished every vessel he started shaping. He raised everything he allowed to die. He will finish you. He will complete you. He will carry this all the way through. And I want you to feel the weight of this. The upgrade is not coming. It is already in process. Right now, tonight, while you are watching this, God is building inside you. He is laying foundations you cannot see yet. He is strengthening structures in you that will carry weight you cannot yet imagine. He's renovating rooms in you that you did not even know existed. The work is not scheduled. It is not pending. It is not waiting for the right conditions. It is happening right now, inside you, tonight. Chosen one, what God is building in you in this season is greater than what was there before, more durable, more aligned with eternity, more capable of carrying the weight of what He is about to release into your life. The upgrade has already begun. And I need you to hear this before I take you into the final place this message has been building toward. You are standing at a threshold right now, not metaphorically. Spiritually, you are at the door of something. You can feel it even if you cannot name it. The reason this message found you tonight is not coincidence. You did not stumble onto this video. The God who knew you before you were born arranged this moment. Because what is on the other side of this threshold is not just a better version of your circumstances, it is a better version of you. The version that has been forged in the hidden season. The version that has been through the potter's house. The version that has allowed the dying and is about to experience the rising. Chosen one step toward the threshold. Because what I am about to tell you now is the most important thing in this entire message. Chosen one, I need you to hear what I'm about to say with everything in you. Set down whatever you are doing. Let this land in the deepest part of your spirit. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone. The new is here. The old is gone. Not is going. Not will eventually go. Not will go when you finally have it all figured out. The old has gone. Past tense. Already done. And the new is here. Present tense. Already arrived. Chosen one, the new version of you that God has been building in this season, is not a future event waiting to be earned. It is a present reality waiting to be received. The remake is not a promise for tomorrow. It is an announcement for tonight. God is not going to change you. He is changing you right now as you receive this. And here is where C.S. Lewis meets us in the deepest part of this moment. In Letters to Malcolm, written near the very end of his life, Lewis wrote something that stopped me the first time I encountered it. Something that I believe God wants to place in your hands tonight. He wrote, "Nothing that has not died will be resurrected." Read those words one more time. Nothing that has not died will be resurrected. Chosen one, what is dying inside you right now is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of the chapter that required everything else to come first. The resurrection cannot happen without the death. The new life cannot emerge without the surrender of the old. And what God is allowing to die in you in this season, He has already planned the resurrection. He already sees what you will look like when you emerge from this. He already knows the version of you that is going to step out of this season. And He is not grieving the dying. He is standing at the other side, arms open, preparing the rising. And I want to say this to you as directly as I can. You are not losing yourself. You are shedding what was never the real you. The fear that had become a personality, the wound that had become an identity, the smallness that had quietly become a comfort zone, the version of faith that was built more on performance than presence. None of that was you. That was the covering. And God is removing the covering gently, thoroughly, one layer at a time, to reveal the person who was always underneath. The person He fashioned with intention before you ever existed. The person He wove together before the foundation of the world. Chosen one, the real you is not being destroyed tonight. The real you is being liberated. And what is being removed? Every layer of fear, every layer of false identity, every expectation the world pressed onto who you are, is making space for who you were always created to be. And what comes next, chosen one, will shock you. Not because it is strange or foreign, but because it is exactly who you always knew you were supposed to be before the years made you doubt it, before the waiting made you shrink, before the silence made you feel small, before the seasons of confusion made you wonder if you had somehow missed your moment. There is a version of you on the other side of this remake that you have always recognized. You have glimpsed them in your best moments. In the moments of worship, when something in you suddenly comes alive at a depth the rest of your life does not reach. In the quiet hours when God speaks, and something in you responds with a certainty that surprises even you. That version of you, the fully remade version, is who God is completing. And when you meet them fully, it will not feel foreign. It will feel like finally coming home. He's not almost done with you. He is not wrapping up. He is not putting finishing touches on something that is nearly complete. He is building with eternity in view, with a patience that does not count our years the way we count them, with a vision that sees the completed version of you from beginning to end. Chosen one, this is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of the version that will last, the version built on foundations that will not shake, the version that can carry the weight of what is coming, the version that God has been quietly preparing in the hidden seasons is about to step into the light. I want to tell you what that stepping into the light is going to feel like, because I think you need to know what you are moving toward. It is going to feel like clarity after years of fog, like finally exhaling after holding your breath for a season you could not fully explain. Like the moment when the road you have been walking in the dark suddenly opens into a landscape you recognize, not because you have been there before, but because some part of you always knew this was where you were going. Chosen one, the people on the other side of your transformation, are not going to be impressed by your theology. They are going to be reached by your testimony, by the fact that you walked through the remaking and did not quit, by the fact that you trusted the potter when you could not see the finished vessel. And that testimony, the one being forged in you right now, is going to carry the weight of heaven behind it. Hold on. The light is coming. See. S. Lewis wrote something that I want to leave with you tonight. Something gentle. Something that takes everything we have walked through together and places it in the hands of grace. He wrote, "Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny." Ordinary people. Not the spectacular ones. Not the ones who never struggled or stumbled. Not the ones who were always certain and always strong and always ready. Not the ones whose stories look clean from the outside. Ordinary people. People like you. People who have been in a season they did not choose. People who have felt the grief of the old self being released. People who have stood in the middle of the remaking and wondered if it would ever end. Chosen one, the hardship of this season is not a detour from your destiny. It is the preparation for it. Every disorienting night, every confusing month, every moment you spent wondering what was happening to you was not wasted. It was working. It was building. It was preparing something ordinary for a destiny that is entirely extraordinary. I want to pray with you right now. If you can, close your eyes and receive this prayer, not as words on a screen, but as something that was prepared specifically for you, for this moment, for this season. Father, I come before you tonight on behalf of every chosen one who is watching this. Every person who has felt the ground shifting beneath them and did not know what it meant. Every person who has been grieving the old self that is passing and is afraid of what is coming next. God, I ask you to give them peace. Not the peace that depends on understanding, not the peace that comes when confusion finally clears, but the peace that surpasses understanding, the peace that holds even when the wheel is still spinning and the shaping is not yet complete. Let them know in the deepest part of who they are, that your hands have never left them, that the discomfort they feel is not evidence of your absence. It is evidence of your presence and your precision and your love. Give them the grace to release what is dying without grasping for it. Give them the courage to receive what is rising with open hands and an open heart. He who began a good work in you will carry it to completion. In the name of Jesus. Amen. Chosen one, before you close this video, before the night takes you back into the ordinary rhythms of your life, I want to leave you with one final anchor. Philippians chapter 1 verse 6. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. He will finish it. Not the version you planned, not the version the world expected, not the version that would have been comfortable and manageable and safe, but the version He designed before you ever drew your first breath. The version He has been building toward through every season of confusion, through every night of questioning, through every moment of the remaking that felt like it was too much to carry. He will finish it. Chosen one, the remaking that is happening inside you right now is not evidence that you are broken. It is evidence that you are being prepared. What God is building in you is worth everything this season has cost. Hold on. The best version of what God has for you is still ahead. You were made for it, and it was made for you. The remake is not the end, it is the beginning. Chosen one, if this message found you tonight, if it landed somewhere in you that needed it, if something in these words spoke to a season that no one around you has fully understood, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel, not because of the content alone, but because there is more coming. More for the chosen ones being remade, more for the ones in the waiting, more for the ones in seasons that the people around them do not have language for. Subscribe, turn on your notifications, because what God has next is for you, and you are going to want to be here when it arrives.